Good morning, everybody. It's great to have everybody here. This is your first time being on here. Thank you so much. We do this every Monday through Friday, 8:15 to 8:30 ish. Coming to you from good old Charlotte, North Carolina. My name is Brock. For those that don't know, and for those that are your first time, I'm a life coach, business coach, real estate, and my most important job, I'm a dad. And let me just tell you, it's been a balancing act this summer, but we're getting through it. And so today's topic, I was trying to figure out what I was going to discuss today. I talked a little bit. I do a prayer group on Tuesdays at 7:30, and I was talking about my setback for my setup. But then today's topic was more along the lines of what your environment brings to the table. And so what I decided to do was I think unless everybody really wants to hear my setback, I was going to save that for another time period because I'm trying to get it all organized. So I was going to keep the same topic of dealing with the environment. The environment also plays into a role a little bit about my setbacks that I have because Greg brought in a really good question last Thursday of how do I handle my challenges? Okay. And part of my challenges is, I was talking about I was asking God for strength. And when you ask for that, he's not going to remove things off of your plate. He's going to put some more things on your plate. And so part of it's well, I have to accept that. But here's where I'm getting at. Your environment is very conducive to your success. So when my setbacks take place and I have conversations with my setbacks inside my head, what takes place is the environment. So if I'm around people who are depressed, I did a post today in reference to growth on our Facebook page on the mindset motivation, where the growth, the roadmap is you have to climb up a hill and you got about 20 people dragging you down. All right. And those are distractions. That's your environment. So when my setbacks increase and challenges increase, if I'm around people that are negative, if my environment is not conducive to growing, you know what, Brock, actually, I'm actually surprised you're even standing. I think you're burning the candle too much on both ends. I don't know, Brock. Why are you doing that? Why would one, I don't get you. Maybe you should scale it back a little bit. That's not a good environment to be in. Now, sometimes it's good for those that know me. That just makes me competitive. When I was in Michigan yesterday, and the billionaire that runs the business says, what motivates you? It's when people tell you I can't. Okay. There's certain aspects of it that I like that too. I like when you tell me I can't. But here's the thing. I want you guys to think about your environment that you're working in. Maybe you're living, maybe the people you're around. Okay, those are all ingredients to your environment, right? Would you all agree with that? That is an important part of it. Okay, as the same token, I'm an ingredient to somebody else's environment. For those that are on here this morning, I'm part of your environment. For those that are on Zoom, I'm part of your environment. You listen into me. So I have to bring some sort of, not so I have to bring passion. I have to bring energy to the table, just like I'm thirsty for that as well. And so I share this with you. Imagine you were in an environment that you were trying to eat healthy, and your environment that you are around, or maybe the stores you go to, you tend to go and there's cookies, there's donuts, there's carbs everywhere. There you go to the break room and it's full. Do you think that environment is conducive to helping you lose weight? Probably not. We talked about the other day habits. So how does that work? Well, you got to be yourself in an environment that allows you to have better habits, meaning that I probably shouldn't go in the break room if there's going to be carbs there, because that is going to make me have to make more of a decision. And if I don't have good self-discipline, it's probably not best for me to go in there, right? See, when I have to make decisions, and when I'm looking at my environment, and I'll use just when I'm making my phone call. So today on Tuesdays at 10:30, I ask you or tell you, encourage you to join. If you want to listen into my FISBOs and expired calls, that environment is a good place for you to listen to me. Guys, that day, that time, selfishly is for me. Okay. But you get to hear me, and that's how I make myself available. But here's the thing, that time is set up for me to be able to continue my habit of me making my phone calls. So I get to still make my phone calls. You get to listen to me. And Stephen Covey talks about win-win situations. That's a win for you and it's a win for me. But that environment makes me make my phone calls. Okay. That environment puts me in a better position. So maybe you just want to hear me for 15 minutes to get yourself in a better position. Be like, okay, I want to make phone calls. I'm going to do it. I'm going to set myself up a habit. I'm going to listen to Brock at 10:30. And at 10:45, I'm going to dive into my own calls, or I'm going to listen to him from 10:30 to 11 o'clock, get a couple keynotes. And 11 o'clock, I'm going to start making some FISBO calls. That's a good habit created by an environment that I put out there for you. See, that's the skill set that you need to be around. That's why they say you need to be around mentors and coaches and be around people who help you get into that position, not to the people who say, well, to be honest with you, they're probably going to yell at you. They're probably going to be very mean. And if Christians, he's on here on Facebook World, he was talking to some other people. Oh, we were talking to another real estate agent, Alexis, Wendy's daughter. And she was like, but aren't people mean on the phone? And he's like, no, they're not really mean. They're actually pretty nice. Maybe I get one person to hang up on me out of 50 calls, but that's it. But we have this stereotype, and we even asked her, we're like, Alexis, have you made any phone calls? Well, no. Well, how do you know that they're mean on the phone? Well, I just hear from other people. See, that environment made her make a decision to not make a phone call from hearsay. That's just that literally go to the Facebook page, guys, and take a look at the growth map of the people pulling you down. That's all it is because they don't have the drive and the passion to do it. So the best thing to do is to take other people down. So you have to make a choice of whether or not that environment is conducive for you, or if that environment is bits and pieces, and filter it. So like I filter my environments on when people tell me no, I'm like, Mike Castor knows this. Like I gear up. Like, what the hell did you say to me? You said, no, I can't do it. Perfect. Thank you very much. And you don't think I could do it by next week? Okay, great. Not a problem at all. All right. I will see you next week with exactly what you said I wasn't going to do. That's how I'm driven. Okay. At the same token, when I'm in my setback positions, I probably don't need to hear too much of the negativity. I mean, it's great, but I filter in how much I need because I also want to be around people who are going to support me, give me that passion, give me that energy. And I challenge you today, for those that are on this call, for those of you on Facebook, for those that watch the recording, I ask you, I encourage you, filter when you need to have motivation and filter when you need to have the right environment. Most of the time, guys, motivation only lasts so long. Some of you on this call might be really motivated and listen in. That's kind of like the speaker. That's the engagement in me. Then it comes to the next point where I have several of you that reach out, and I'm starting to get more and more appointments, or more and more like, hey, Brock, I need to talk to you a little bit more. I need to dive a little bit deeper. That's the mentorship. That's the coaching aspect of me, because you got to dive, you got to get to the root of what's going on. And so for you, I want you to look at your environment today. Am I in the right fit of the people that I'm around? We had a prayer call today about somebody was talking about, like, I'm nervous about my daughter, of who they're hanging around, right? Because when you hang around, I tell people, imagine if you're not a morning person, like Wendy is not a morning person. Okay. She doesn't really like being around me early in the morning because I'm bringing energy. I'm bringing it. I'm asking a lot of questions. So it's just like, if you're not that, maybe it's just like, okay, I'm just going to stay away from him. Okay. But if you're like, man, I want that, I want to feel that, you need to be around somebody like that. You need to have that drive. So I want you today to think about your environment. What motivates you? What habits can you put into your day already? We talked about it yesterday. And is your environment conducive to helping you get to that? Because, guys, it's August 2nd. How'd you do yesterday? Where are you at? Who are you around? Who do you need to be around? What are some conversations you need to have? So, with that being said, it is 8:28. I'm going to open it up here to anybody in Facebook world, anybody into Zoom world that has a question in reference to me in my process, my systems. Anybody who has something on what I'm doing, how I'm building relationships. Maybe you saw my Facebook post yesterday. Get some ideas. Anybody got anything for me? A role play, something that they would like to share or bring up?
Hey, Brock, I have a question.
Hey, Pamela.
Hello. So I've kind of been, I haven't been making the FISBO calls. And so I'm kind of there with Alexis sometimes, but I
Right.
know it's, it's really not that big a deal. But so my question for you is, since the market's changed so much, what kind of conversations are you having with with the FISBOs? Are they talking to you more, do you find, or is it just by the numbers, just by chance?
So in this case here, Ria likes to see herself on the screen here.
Hi, Ria.
So in this case here, what takes place is the lack of confidence in FISBOs is starting to come into people's mindset. Okay. People won't say it at first, but I ask specific questions, i.e., how much longer are you willing to wait before you interview a real estate agent? And see, before the market shifted, if I ask that question, they'd be like, I already have like 16 offers, or like within a day, I'll get it. Right. Their confidence has started to decrease. So if I was to give you the secret sauce, is I'm figuring out their confidence level. And one of the ways to be able to do that, just like anything, what's a good example to be able to do this? I don't want to use this one because it's a negative one. Just like anything, when you first lose a game in any sport, I'll just use football because I was watching some football interviews this morning. When they play a game on Sunday night and Monday morning, they're not really feeling it. Okay. It's very hard. You got to get yourself going. You're still thinking about the loss. By the time you come to Saturday, that loss feeling is pretty much long gone because time has had a way of being able to work through that. It is the same exact thing when it comes time for FISBOs. See, in the beginning, they're energized because their ego gets in their way because they've heard of all the other people who sold their house. But those people who sold their house 3 months ago, 4 months ago, maybe even last month. But for the most part, there's even a month ago, they're in Charlotte. They're starting to feel that. So when I asked the question, no, I completely understand. You just started putting it on there. No, not a problem at all. Great. Now, if you don't sell your house, and I really do hope you sell your house because you could save a lot of money, do you have a time period in mind that you might think about interviewing a real estate agent? Guys, that is the question. That is the question that separates many agents because they don't ask that question. And I ask that question all the time. And that is how I'm able to get more for sale by owners, because once they answer that question to me, well, Brock, I at least another week or two. Awesome. Great. No, I completely understand. So would you mind, because you've been getting a lot of phone calls, haven't you? Yeah, I have been. Well, I have to separate myself. In order to separate myself, what I've learned is the first couple of days you've been on FISBO, you're going to get a lot of phone calls. As that continues, as time goes, you're not going to get as many phone calls. And that is when I separate myself from the other real estate agents. So would you mind if I respectfully follow up with you? You'll notice the word I used, guys. What was the key word that you think I said, Pamela? What was one of the words that I used before I said the word follow up?
Would just asking a question, would you mind?
I said, yep. But I said the word respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
Respectfully follow up. Because the definition of respectfully in that position really means, well, what does he mean? Like, is he going to be polite? Or does he mean like he's not going to bombard me every hour of the day? Like, what does respectfully mean? Respectfully, the definition of it in itself could be anything, but I just say the word respectfully follow up because I think not a lot of real estate agents are using that word. So I say, would you mind if I respectfully follow up? Well, yeah, sure, Brock. Yeah, I don't, what does that mean? Well, I'm not going to annoy you and text you every single day, but I would just like to be able to balance and flirt with, I am going to follow up and I'm going to give you value and I'm going to do it in a time sensitive matter. So that way, when the time period comes and you are thinking about interviewing agents, I hope my name pops up in your head. Oh, sure, Brock, that sounds really nice. Then it's just this person's job to be able to respond or to follow up because I have nobody else to blame except I write it down in my notes and I decide I need to follow up with this person. So in reference to the conversations, what I'm seeing, like that has been like the basis of my conversation. It's not so much the commission conversation anymore. Okay. Because the numbers, they already know the interest rates are higher. They already know that they might be overpriced. They already know that indirectly. Now it becomes a time period of when they're going to need me. And that's when I want to be able to be front of mind. So my value is shifted from handling objections of pricing and in commission to being able when I'm going to be needed and be front of mind. So hopefully that helps you understand the biggest shift that I've seen in my conversations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. We got about another 30 seconds here. Has anybody got anything that they like to add or say on that?
Hi, Brock. This is Sharon. I have a question in addition to that.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to follow up with an email or a letter to a FSBO, how could I do that and stand apart?
So a letter will be too slow. So I wouldn't do a letter. If I was to do any letter, it would be a note card.
Mm-hmm.
And the note card for me always has a lottery ticket in it. And I've won some deals that way is because that separates me from everybody else because most people, I mean, the elite of the elite will do note cards. So I know that. So it separates me as I put a lottery ticket in there and I say, I hope you win and I hope we have an opportunity to talk later. And I've won some deals on that because one of the guys even specifically said to me, he goes, you're the only one that had a lottery ticket. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I already said to myself, when I'm ready to sell the house, I'll call you. So simple things like that. It doesn't have to be a ridiculously expensive lottery ticket. It could just be, just one of those dollar things that you have. Because to me, I don't want to spend a lot of money because I don't really know what my return is going to be on that. So that's why I only do $1 on it, and it still gives me good value when it comes time for it. So if I was to do any note card or any letter, it would be a note card. Because I want to be able, I like to use also links. I do the make tiny URL. I use the RPR and I do home values and I share that. I use Remine, REMINE, and these are all free tools in our MLS that we have access to. And I copy paste these links. I literally did one on this home in Davidson that's 1.4 million. She still hasn't listed it yet. And I touch her about every 4 to 5 days. I create a link. I put on the make tiny URL. I copy paste it. I send it over to her. It does the tracking and she looked at it twice. So to me, she's still involved. So that's what I would recommend in reference to a follow-up process, usually texting note card with the lottery ticket.
Thank you. Good.
Mhm.
Good.
Very good question. Good question. Anybody else have anything that they would like to say? Good morning, Pat. Greg, I see the gas card, but the gas card, why I don't do that is because really the gas is so expensive. And literally, even if I spent $5, like I'm only giving them a gallon of gas. So I like the idea, but I'm not, the return on investment has to be greater in order for me to give them a gas card. That's why I do the dollar lottery ticket because it's not as much. Anybody else have any questions or anything? Remember, Thursday, I'm doing my call, so you're more than welcome to join in on Thursday. I think I got 2 people coming in. Christian and Darius is coming in. Greg will be in as well. So if anybody else would like to, I got room for 1 more person. If you like to come listen in on Thursday to my what we got going on and kind of that environment, creating that environment. So anybody else? Okay. All right. Facebook world, you guys have an awesome day today. Thank you for being a part of us this morning. Come join us. If you guys know anybody that you think that this would benefit them, feel free to listen in, invite them. It's on Facebook. You can go to Brock Zevan's Mindset Motivation Facebook group. And then Claudia, I just got your message. Sure. I will send me a text message, Claudia, or direct message, and I'll get you that information. And then what else was I going to say? That's it. So anyways, that's all I got. So thank you so much for being on here.